All right, we're in here. I'm gonna stop doing the thing where I go, like, is it working? All that stuff. It's working. I can see that it's working, and if it's not working, I'm gonna just perform to the void. But I can see Alex Clausen and YJS in here. Hey guys. Let me send Alex his link. See if we can get him in here right away. Let's see. Invite guest. Yes. All right. Alex. There you are. Boom. Let's see if this works. All right, I just sent it. Yeah, hey, welcome. I don't know how many people are here yet. It looks like 7. So we are about to have Alex Knight on. I will introduce you to him in a second. And yeah, but welcome to the weekly Night Shift community live stream. I'm stoked about it. I look forward to these now. I've kind of acclimated a little bit. Looks like it's sent. Yes. Hey Gabe. Hey Brandon. Hey Wasali L. Glad to see you in here. Thanks for joining. I think this was maybe the first time you've come in one of the lives that I've seen, so nice to see you. Let me just text Alex one more time here. Yeah, I'm like really enjoying these streams so far. This is like, I look forward to this every week. It actually was weird. I felt like it felt like such a long time between the last stream and this one. I don't know. I didn't expect to experience that phenomenon. All right, just texted Alex one more time there. But yeah, I'm really excited to have Alex on. He's a really cool, interesting person, and you know, we're gonna get into that. But yeah, it's crazy. The Dissolve video is. I often think about that in relation to Alex's involvement, and that video would have been such a huge failure without him. So yeah, it would be fun to reminisce a little bit about that. I don't know where he is. No. Okay, there we go. I see. He is sending to his own email list that he's going live with us. So let me get the volume up. How are you guys doing? How's everybody doing in the chat today? Actually, Empty Speech Bubble is also party provider, and I know Alex because of him. So yeah, it's cool to have Brandon in here as well. And yeah, we can get to know Alex. I have not gotten to catch up with Alex as much as I would like in recent years, so looking forward to this. Okay, here we go. Add to show. Boom. Is this gonna work? Let's try it. I don't know if it worked. I don't think it did. Let's try this again. These technical things. Let's figure this out. Yeah. Brandon's college roommate. I'm gonna send him a new link because I created. Hey, Cinema Girl, good to see you again. Thanks for coming. Glad to hear you're doing good, Gabe. That's great. Oh, here we go. This looks more promising. I see his face.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex. What's up?
Ah.
How's it going?
Oh my God! Wait, now I'm in 2 of them. Hang on. Wait. Okay, I'm good. I'm
yeah.
good.
Okay. I only see you on one. So
I'm doing good. Hi. How's it going? Sorry, I'm late.
Really, really good. No, don't worry about it. It was really
well, fuck late. Whatever.
Best. I mean, you're the least late so far. Yeah.
It was technical. I was ready.
Yeah. So welcome to the stream. This is the Night Shift live stream.
Livestream.
Everybody in the chat, this is Alex Knight. You probably recognize his face from the Dissolve video. And possibly you might in the back of your mind be like, I feel like I recognize this guy from other things. It's possible.
Thanks,
it's very technically possible. So if so, we will get into that and explore that a little bit more. But yeah, how are you doing? Thanks for doing this, Alex.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to just connect with people. Anytime.
Yeah, cool.
Any
That's
way,
a great general,
like new different ways. Yeah.
Very nice general
Happy
statement. I agree. It is nice to connect with people.
Yeah, I mean, I would just be like sitting at home, like watching TV or some shit right now.
Yeah.
So like, much rather connect with the human.
Cool. Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of want to like just jump right in on this stuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, obviously like in regards to the stream coming up and thinking once again about the Dissolve video. And I have to say thank you again, because that thing would have been the biggest disaster of all time of an attempt to make a thing.
Maybe. I don't know what you mean, though. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what I brought specifically in any way.
Well,
like it was a very clear dream and vision that you had. I feel like I was just a little piece in it.
But I will say, and to not kind of beat around the bush with it, it required somebody that was willing to be put through the ringer.
Okay, I guess so.
Thing. And to do it,
yeah, I'll give you that. I did love you. I love your music. I love your work. I was like happy to be part of that. And maybe if it was a stranger, it was scary. It was hard and scary and difficult, but so fun to do something out of love. Like the more difficult, the more intense, whatever, the more painful. If it's out of love, it's like fucking awesome. But if it's if it's just for a paycheck, I might have checked out possibly.
I mean, because these were over 12-hour days. Mm-hmm. You were spending a good 8 hours of those days in the water.
Yeah.
And it took fun. 2 of them, 2 days, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I just really distinctly remember you being like, it's worse getting out of the pool and having to get back in the pool. So you would just stay in the pool.
Oh yeah, because you guys like, do you want to get out and take a break? And be like, no, I'm good. I don't even remember the thought process there. It was something about fatigue being like too much temperature change or whatever. Yeah.
So that was really, really insane. And then like to be able to do that while also maintaining your like acting ability the entire time and not having it devolve into just survival mode at all, which you can
sure
because the facial expressions are so important in that thing. And then also walking the very nuanced line of being able to hit that kind of like neutral, happy, sad, this is funny but sad tone at the same time as doing all these other things. Pretty insane.
Oh, thanks. I mean, that's my job. Like, as simple as it is, like, like that's what actors are supposed to do. Like, I could have you do that with music and I don't know, whatever. I mean, sure, it would still be hard possibly, but like, I don't know what I'm saying, but it was also terrifying too. I remember, they were like shooting me up through that thing. And at that peak, it's like, they're launching me up like, what was that? 25 feet? I don't know.
Let me see if I can use this little feature really quick and, pull up a little image of that while we talk about it. I think I can do this.
At the peak of that, I think I did it. And then you guys are like, at the peak of that, I'm again terrified of heights and speed and all that. They're like, at the peak of that moment, can you like give us this face?
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, my body is thinking lots of other faces, but so fun. So fun.
This thing that you guys are seeing right now is kind of the moment that we're talking about. And there was a full stunt team. They connected these pulley systems to the rafters in this giant pool, and this isn't VFX. This is Alex 20 feet in the air. We launched him as high as we could without risking hitting the ceiling,
and like right up to the roof, like like a foot away from the roof, but it was measured, so there's no way I ever could hit it. But
yeah,
it was scary. It was fast.
Yeah, it was super fast and had to act the entire time, hitting certain like beats and then also hoping that the rig would position you in the right angle for like the fall and everything. And just that was terrifying to watch for multiple reasons.
So much fun though. Again, I'm terrified of that stuff, but like I never would have done it unless, like the opportunity arises like that. Like what a magical opportunity being in that LA pool in the middle of the night. Like, yeah, really neat.
Weird pool too. It's like gigantic, not only gigantic, but like exceptionally deep. Like,
Were you saying it was in other productions?
I think
been
it's
used
in
in
some
productions?
other things because it's certainly like, I mean, I think anything in LA is going to end up in a bunch of
It's
stuff.
been in
But
certain things. Yeah.
I want to try to also add this other image that I have, which, so it's the side shot that it's kind of underappreciated in the video, and it's not the most beautiful shot we've got, but it does kind of show the
Yeah.
that's the actual kind of height. That's reality.
So scary.
Yeah, really
And
insane.
that crew was so amazing though. They were such professionals and like, yeah, I don't know, knew their shit. And the aqua lilies were amazing. Those swimmers,
Yep. Yeah.
they were so in much better shape than me. Like, yeah, they crushed it.
Well, I mean, as the jack of all trades in this scenario, you the fact that you were like a swimmer, like that was like essential. And
Yes, yes.
as we're talking about this pool scenario too, I am also remembering this, which is you sitting at the bottom of the pool, and what you can't really tell in this shot, but is very real, is that this is the deepest part of a very deep pool. I think it was 14. I want to say it's 14 feet
I
down, but
forgot there were so many things that were terrifying. You're right.
and you would sink from the top to the bottom.
I'm holding a weight behind my back to
Yeah,
sink me
yeah,
down there.
yeah, to like fight the buoyancy, like he's hiding a weight behind his back there. I didn't know if any of this was going to be possible. So the fact that you like pulled all of this off, and it wasn't like we had rehearsal either. It was just sort of like, okay, what's next? And it's like, well, can you sink? I don't know. I want to say it was like 14 feet down, but if that seems like maybe it's more. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember specifically looking at like a shot list or anything. Yeah, sometimes it's coming up, but I don't, and I'm sure you guys had it, but I don't remember like looking at it and knowing what was coming. It was just like, yeah, now we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
All right,
I
cool.
mean, again, I will never be able to thank you enough for
No
actually
worries.
being there. I'm trying to see if I can see how deep that deepest part of the pool is, in if I get lucky. With this depth, this doesn't seem right. This says depth up to 9 feet. That's not correct.
No,
That thing was like for high diving.
And weren't those some of the camera people like Avatar people? Did you have Avatar people
Yeah.
working on it?
One of the underwater photographer for the second shoot, I think, because
Yeah.
we had because we had to do a reshoot because the camera, because we were doing so much underwater camera stuff, and there was a disaster with that first one where the sensor for the underwater camera decided that the camera had gotten wet, even though it hadn't, and so it wouldn't let us shoot anymore.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
And then we had, which actually like saved the video because we went into like insurance paid for a second day, and yeah. But the second underwater photographer was James Cameron's guy that he used since Titanic, I guess.
Yeah.
And did Avatar and everything. So
I didn't see that new Avatar. Did you see that new Avatar?
No, I didn't. I want to, just because I've gotten really interested in fluid simulation. Like,
yeah. I thought a lot of people are.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. I 100% know what you mean. It is an awkward sentence, but I got you 100%.
Yeah.
There should be some of the best in that movie. So
definitely, yeah. That's mainly my interest. I wasn't the biggest like Avatar 1 fan, but
no, I don't know. Caitlin has a good question. I'm curious too.
The thought process behind the dissolve teaser. Oh yeah,
so, it was such a nice little Easter egg, so cute, and like again, going back to like night shift connectivity, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. So the story behind that, like, when I first like kind of started working with Atlantic, and I was working with a guy who became my really close friend, Ryan Brady. Who sadly has passed away since then in a car accident, but he was instrumental in this video happening, and we really vibed out creatively in those early days. And one of his ideas, he kind of likened it to for some, I forget why, but he sort of likened it to like Seinfeld, of this being like a thing about nothing. And he was like, let's like connect everything together in these ways and like sort of break the fourth wall as much as we can.
Yep.
And so he set up to have that sort of linking shot created, which the cool thing was that the team he brought on included this director of photography, Kayla Hoff. I don't know if you might have met her at the thing, but she's wonderful. And she shot that shot of me walking out kind of like from the thing. And I remember being so stressed at that shoot that I was like, I don't want to do this thing. I kept putting it off. I was like, I'm too busy. And then we finally got it.
Your turn to act, buddy.
Yeah. And then she went, she shot the video that it also linked to. So she shot the Done with Love video. But yeah, it was really like, that was Ryan's thing. And we were, you know, it was if in a way in my brain, it feels like a little bit of an early prototype of some of the things that are happening now. So, yeah, it's very meaningful, and I actually like the you know, it's years later now, but like the EP, that the Firecracker EP that all the new videos are a part of, like is like dedicated to him. Yeah, he was a very important person to me, and yeah, but yeah, so that was kind of how that came together, and you know, the adoption of like Dissolve and the Dissolve video into the Night Shift universe as kind of the first thing really still just like resonates for me as being like, none of it would exist without this video, none of it would exist without the song, none of it would, all that, and I, you know, drawing it back, and we, you know, you and I have had conversations about this, about expanding the story around even this video, and getting to know that character more, which I still want to explore.
Yeah. I mean, for whatever it is, it's just a really nice, like, it's just a really intriguing little piece. And yeah, for me, it leaves some unanswered questions for sure. Or like makes me think more that there could be more, whether we do it or not. But yeah,
and
which is, I think, a nice piece of art, a piece of art that like extends beyond its boundaries and allows the person to like, continue into it in some way.
That idea of even like how to break those boundaries with it, and like I almost don't even think of it as like a creative decision as much as like I almost try to think of it more like not a problem solving thing, but like identifying something that's already there that we're just missing, you know? So it's like we have this thing, and there would be obvious ways to extend it, but what could we do that almost transforms what it is once you get this other viewpoint? Like, I think that would be a really cool thing.
I mean, that's how I just taught my improv class last night, and that's like a big thing we were talking about last night. Check this out: is the idea of invention versus discovery when you're doing your improv work, which is just still making art of any kind. And the way I liken it is like invention is cerebral, and it's you like, what could we do? How could we make this work? Let's invent a way to like make a sequel to this movie. And then discovery is when you're so settled with your scene partner and you're building that world slowly and just feeling it out, and then the thing comes out, and it's like, you know, you're two people talking, and then all of a sudden it's like, this funeral's been rough. And it's like, oh shit, we've been at a funeral, but it made sense because of the tone and stuff. So you've discovered that you're at a funeral, not like, oh, maybe we're at a funeral. We're at a funeral. And then you say it. So I don't know. There's just this very similar thing. And when I watch my students do it, like you can see the difference in invention versus discovery, whatever it is. I feel like it comes from here or it comes from here, and the good stuff comes from here.
Yeah. And it's like, you're not trying to force something at that point. You're trying to get out of the way of good ideas and good thing. And I think there's an integrity that probably kicks in behind that, where it's like, and that's what I think is really, for people who don't know, like Alex is a really talented improv comedy performer, but also teacher, and leads people doing this. So is very well versed in this stuff. And that's sort of like I know in times that I've watched improv comedy and been really blown away by it, is the weird integrity of something coming together right in front of you. That is really a majestic thing to witness.
Yeah. And absurd and pointless, but incredibly poignant. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all these things.
It's like a weird metaphor for life too, for sure. Like, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. If I can even pull that idea of invention versus discovery, like into my daily life too, it really benefits me. It's like harder to extrapolate it into that, but like if you can just exist and feel and make choices from that kind of, instead of worrying about, you know, the shit we worry about and getting stuck in our heads and those spirals.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, it's something that like, I guess like the improv side of what you do wasn't maybe like a major factor in me feeling so strongly about you for the Dissolve video. But one thing that I do think there's an interesting relationship between on multiple levels is your work as a painter, which I was kind of the first thing that I was aware of, because
Sure.
Empty Speech Bubble in the chat, which is also Party Provider on the Discord, our friend Brandon, your college roommate, introduced me to your stuff, and he was just like, you're gonna really like Alex, and his you know, he kind of like sent me your paintings, and I was like a huge fan. And just actually would like to pull one up here, just so people can kind of get the flavor for a second. So Alex does these really, really like minimal resonant paintings, very distinctive style, and always with like usually one sentence or one phrase that kind of sets it off with this like unexpected context. And I feel like there's such a strong relationship between, I mean, first of all, I feel like this gives a real glimpse into like your real creative impulse, like kind of what's behind your creativity, to me personally. But also I sense some of I sense the playfulness of the improv within this as well, kind of, because everything always has a twist. Nothing is ever just hitting the nail like right on the head. There's always like a subversion. I'm curious if you feel that connection too between those two things.
Yeah. Well, and again, I would say it's like a lot of times I'll draw the piece and then I will look at it and I will feel the feel of it. And then those words will be, again, like going back to that idea of kind of discovered instead of, but every once in a while I will have an idea driving in the car and then I will like try to draw that and it never comes out the way I want it to, you know, like it is better when I just trust the flow, whatever it is, that artistic, I don't know what you call it, whatever. There's so many words for it, but like your guts.
Do you tend to just start with like the imagery and then, or does the whole thing come at once, or like what happens?
It's like, again, it's pretty improv. Normally I'll draw like a thing and then that thing will, you know, come to life in some way, and then those words will come, and sometimes they're all kinds of different levels of completion. I'll have like just drawings without words, or, you know, unpainted, and I'll just go through them again and again until they re-inspire me, kind of like, slowly building these projects.
Well, I love that. I mean, there's a real sense of like, it's like breathing to, you know, like just seeing how many, like, you know, for people who probably don't know, actually, I'm going to drop in the chat, like, Alex's Instagram right now to you, because you guys should definitely follow him. And you'll see there's tons of work in a way that like kind of, it feels very like this is something that comes out of you very naturally in the process. I don't know. I have a feeling it probably hits your life kind of like a very positive ritual, just doing this, you know?
I mean, yes and no, but then when when I'm artistically void for a bit and I'm not doing it, you get that like insecurity or judgment of yourself, like, oh, I make those paintings, why aren't I making those paintings?
Yeah.
But sometimes like the emotions are too strong. You're like, I'm too close to the source right now. I'm too sad. I can't even make the art right now. Or sometimes I'm just neutral. I'm uninspired and it goes away. So it is therapeutic for me. And I get distressed when I'm not using it for that therapy. I'm like, what's going on? Why aren't I like feeling the need to express myself in this way? I'm lucky I have the improv, and those have like set shows. Like I have a show this Friday. So like I have to make art in that hour that I'm performing. And that's really nice, because when you're held accountable making your own art, sometimes you can really slip for a while. So I think that's another thing that I like about improv, is makes my lazy ass make art.
I've been jealous of the improv thing for a while, because the nature of it being, you know, it's like being like, I'm a jazz musician. Like, yeah, you might like rehearse, but like going in unprepared is part of the recipe too. You have to, you
a
know?
big part. So, yeah. It's so nice to not have to do my homework. I've never wanted to do my homework ever, and I never have. So like, nice to have a thing where I don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious if like what you're, like what goes on in your brain like an hour before you're performing improv? Is it anything? Does it even have to do with it, or do you just flip the switch when you're?
It's really gotten to the point where, yeah, I like do not worry about it. I am very unafraid. I've failed so many times. I've made every mistake dozens of times that it doesn't matter. I'm alive and it's fine. And yeah, you make it work. And specifically with improv, that failure is what is I don't know, sexy and beautiful and wonderful about it, is like seeing us fail and then make that work.
Yeah. I mean,
Which we're
yeah,
all
is that part of
capable
the
of. But we're,
beauty?
yeah, we're so afraid of making mistakes in life that we don't give ourselves the opportunity to make them work, kind of. And that is real magic and real fun. And so to have an art form where you're designed to fuck it up and then fix it is a really good practice for life. And again, I'm my real life is hard. Like I get ups and downs and all kinds of shit happens. So it doesn't make it perfect, but it definitely has given me a lot of coping skills, tools, whatever. Yeah, practice.
Yeah, there's something about it that feels like it's such an antithesis to so many things that are like wrong with the way that I think like we typically like live our lives. Like this is like it's so much about like what's expected about us, or like not seeming strange, or like not taking a risk.
My students are
stupid, like
so defensive. We're very, very fucking defensive people.
Yeah.
Very concerned about how we look and curating that. And social media definitely gives us another opportunity to have another layer of curation of ourselves. And yeah, you don't want to look bad. You don't want to like, there's so much blaming of other people and like, look at them. And like, so you see improv scenes early on and people will be like, why are we at this movie? Why'd you bring me to this movie? Why are we here? And it's like, you made that idea. You made yourself at the movie. Don't blame that. I don't know. It's like there's a lot of, again, look at the other person. And it's really fun when you learn to embrace failure. And I mean, I learned how to like juggle. I've learned how to do stilts, and all these things are stilts for sure. Is like you have to learn. You like learn how to fall first a bunch of fucking times before you can even do the thing. And yeah, I think we're not trained. I think artists get more opportunity to do that, but I can't imagine. I don't know, a lot of these other life paths where you're not at all given by your parents, by teachers, anything, this idea that failure is okay, that failure is fucking normal and average and happens most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it seems difficult.
Yeah. Do you find that especially with like being not only like doing improv, but teaching improv, do you find like, I feel like the lessons are probably so baked in. Do you find it just like leaking into every aspect of your life? Kind of?
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of religious for me at this point. It's like, I can see how simple it is to connect and love a person and how that energy feeds on itself. Like just how love is the choice. And again, I get angry, I get sad, I get all those things, but the better I can operate from a place of love and emotional truth, like seems like the better I can navigate this world and help other people. I just see I see it ripple out the more kindness I can give, and not false kindness, but like true kindness as best I can deliver. I'm never, Ned Flandersy about it, but like even from my dark spaces, can I like at least filter it through love, respect, kindness, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like you're probably like within I don't know, your relationship to like the people you teach is probably like, it's probably different with every person, like anything, but I bet it's been pretty impactful for some people who've been lucky to encounter you.
It seems that way. Who knows? But like, yeah, it seems like it's helping people. And I see people like coming back and taking my classes again because, they're like, I'm seeing this lesson. But it's yoga too. It's not like algebra. Like you learn this equals this, and then you have it. It's constantly like you can go to a yoga class and do basic things, down dogs and stuff, and like just fucking learn them. Like you can do these things. You can get better at these small things. If that makes sense. Like it's practice. It's a practice, not like a thing that you can complete ever, which is again nice. I will never be done at learning this craft, and same thing with music. You're never going to be like, cool, I fucking got it. Like now I know it all. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, these we'll never complete them.
Yeah, no, I think that's like one of the big like instead of trying to decouple a little bit from the normal, like I was never really like part of the normal music industry my entire life. Like, even being on indie labels isn't really quite the same thing. And as when I stepped into sort of the more like official corporate major label world. And you have your version of that probably with like
yeah,
the acting with the TV shows and stuff, where it's just a little different.
totally.
But one of the major, one of my major things now is trying to get back to this kind of just decoupling from the idea that the result of every step has to be this measurable and quantifiable, like successful thing. I hate that so much. I don't believe in it. I don't believe the world operates like that. I don't think that's the reason for being creative either. Like I think like the thing I find a lot of beauty in is like, doing what feels good, doing what is, I just saw it put yesterday from, this, songwriter that I know, Dan Wilson. And he was like, chase your interests like a dog chasing a Frisbee, basically, with that same level of play and joy. And, I really like that image, and I feel like that's
and again, not always attainable every fucking day.
Yeah.
But if you can at least like believe in hope and like lean towards that through whatever you're going through, it's really important. I definitely have friends that I feel maybe never embraced any sort of artistic side of them. I don't know. I just see that not paying off as people get older and like not expressing themselves in some way. And, you'll find like the gym or something as a form of expression, and that like it does kind of count. But man, I think there's so much in so many people that doesn't know it can come out. And again, going back to probably failure, insecurity. I'm not an artist. I can't draw. And I've said I can't draw for 20 years. So now it's true, even though it's not true. I mean, look at my art. Like anyone can draw those things. There's maybe possibly some sort of like allowance I give myself to draw them. That's it. But there is no technical skill in my work that a baby couldn't do. Like my niece seriously has drawn stuff, and we put them side by side. That's like, you couldn't tell which one's too true. Like, but it's just about that permission to give yourself to make art, to do a thing, because everyone has it in them. And this is for me somewhat what the night shift is. It's like, for me, it's the flip for anyone. When anyone suddenly like jumps to that other world and goes, holy shit, like there's this other world where like I can express myself. And sometimes it's fucking macrame, or it's like, it's, I don't know what it is, like some weird little art form or something, but you're like, wow, I expressed myself in this little way on accident, doing paper mache or origami one time, or one of those wine bar painting class things that happen, whatever it is. Like, I think people can have these moments when they find themselves, and some people never will. And the more we can push people to find that moment and express themselves, I think the better. Especially with all this AI art. Come on, these fucking computers are going to start doing it. We're having the computers do the thing that like we want to do. Like our human bodies and brains want to express themselves, and we're like hiring the computers to express. That's so funny to me.
I've been thinking about this though, because if you think about it, I think what stops a lot of people in a way is the mechanics of it. Like, creativity isn't here, and it has no speed limit, and it has no like, your brain's zooming, and you're seeing stuff, you're feeling stuff, whatever, and especially the conceptual based things. And then everything that happens between that and somebody else receiving it is the skill of translating it into a medium, into some medium that's external to your brain. And that's different to me. That is like, the translation process is separate from the creative part. And there's a feedback loop, and there's an interaction, and certainly you're constantly like if you're drawing a line, you're reacting to what you're seeing in real time, and that's adjusting your concept in real time as a feedback loop. But I do think that people get intimidated because they think that their skill in the translation process is something they can't acquire, or they don't have a talent, quote unquote talent for, or the education for, or fear of, discovering it, it's different than they thought it would be. But I think there's something to be said for trying to decouple those two things a little bit, and realize, and I think like that's really the thing. I think it's probably a really painful thing for a lot of people to have that creativity in their head and feel like they can't bring it out,
Yeah. Well, and again, I say this because like I see my students, these people that are not artists, that are suddenly like making work that is either funny, simply funny, or emotionally moving and tragic and beautiful. Like these will do like dramatic improv scenes in class, and people that are non-actors, non-artists in any fucking way will express themselves in a way that is incredibly moving. It's fucking art, and they did it. Like it is in all of us. It takes a teacher or some way of, or again, finding an art form that like speaks to you. And there's lots of them. And yeah, I don't know. You just have to almost luck out that you find the thing. Like going back to my art, I went through, wait, hang on. I want to make our cabinets look the same. There. That's good. Yeah, Brandon saw my art, but I started doing all these drawings because I was going through like a really rough breakup, like a big separation from a partner in my life. And so I started doing the art from that. Like that was the lucky inciting incident for me, was this huge heartbreak and tragedy that like allowed me to start making the art. So yeah, we all have things that'll find ways to start unlocking. And I was already doing art in different ways, but like, yeah, we'll find ways of unlocking new forms of it or whatever, I think, if we look for them or feel for them.
I'm curious how, I feel like there's like, you have such kind of a multifaceted creative life, because obviously, you know, you have the improv stuff, you have your painting stuff, you have also this like other side of being a dramatic actor, successful, you know, like Alex, for people, you know, who don't know, you know, like Alex has been in things like Narcos Mexico and Preacher, and like, you know, these shows as like a dramatic actor, not necessarily like bringing the comedy side as much. And I'm curious, like, how you kind of like found yourself in that space. Is there sort of like an entry point? Was it like, was there a moment where you're just like, I'm just gonna go down a general creative road here and see where it takes me, or like what brought you there? It feels like kind of there has to be a core to it, sort of somewhere.
I mean, it's like for me, I'm just trying to be a professional, like a professional musician, and like hire me for your jazz band, hire me for your salsa band, like whatever. I'm good enough at guitar that I can play whatever you need me to play, because that's also like where the money is or where the gigs are. Like the jobs I booked are not the jobs I wanted to book. They're the ones that they gave me.
Yeah.
So they're seeing something and booking me for dramatic work. Like, yeah, if you look at who I am and you look at my like resume, it seems weird that there's not more comedy on there. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just what they're seeing or whatever. I guess. But I think, you know, sometimes they do see, I don't know, that comedic side of me deep down, that humanity in me, and they're trying to drop that into these dramatic roles, I think, a little bit to soften them somewhat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I always notice when you know, like a good example right now would be something like Barry, where, you know, comedic actor like Bill Hader comes in, and no surprise to anyone who has like paid a lot of attention to, I think, people's like arcs. A lot of times people from comedy are exceptionally good dramatic actors that can bring this whole other side to it. And I think there's something about like kind of knowing, you can feel that like it might just be in a little an expression that makes it, it's like, it's not necessarily comedy, it's like color,
humanity.
Yeah,
I don't know.
humanity,
Yeah,
and you know, like it can make a moment colorful that might otherwise be drab or something. Like, and you can do that in the middle of a dramatic thing, and I think you can like sense that. I don't know.
I mean, I think for sure. I think the like, I think a lot of acting is just like emotional chemistry, math, whatever, you know, like this a slant to the eyebrow here will create a little bit of intimidation that will read to the, like, whatever. It's a lot of math. And I think comedy is a harder problem to solve. To make people laugh is harder. So if you've got someone that can do the emotional math to get someone to laugh, I think they can probably do the cry math too, because it's easier to be like, you fucking piece of shit, you pathetic, whatever. It's easier to do or whatever, right? Then, you know, easier to make someone sad. And we see this in daily life too. Much easier to make someone fucking sad, insecure, whatever. Our words have a lot of power. Like we're throwing that shit around all the time. We're not throwing as much love around because it's more difficult and joy and happiness, I think. But some of us are. Some people are doing a great job making the world a better place, for sure.
Yeah, it makes me think about like think it's called like Maslow's hierarchy of needs or something. It's like that thing
Mhm.
where it's like that pyramid, and like the higher
Mhm, mhm.
it's like you can't do, ultimately the top of it is like self-actualization basically, and the bottom is like, do I have like food or
Yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I almost feel like when you talk about like comedy being like really really like the difficult thing, I think it probably really is it feels like it lives at the top of that. It's where it's in like
Yeah.
the unstable, really nuanced, complicated places.
Sure.
Whereas, sometimes like I think like the more dramatic side, it's like it's a little more direct
Yeah.
almost in a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
cases.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, Jim Carrey, when we first met him, is like Ace Ventura and Fireman Bill. It's like
Right.
that was so over the fucking top. And then, but under there was, like you said, like this foundation of, but he could have done this other shit back then too. They were using him for this other thing. But yeah, I don't
And
know.
it's interesting how it means something different. Like seeing actors you associate with comedy do drama also in a meta sense means something different, I think.
Yeah.
Like
I just
where
finished my Better Call Saul's and like, man, so good.
yeah.
Love it. He's
Yeah, that's
so
a
good.
really good example of it. Yeah, I haven't watched the last season yet, but it really, I'm a big Bob Odenkirk fan in general,
Mhm.
and I think, yeah, that's like a really, really good example of it, where you might go multiple episodes with it being all drama, but there is something where it's like he could just flip it and
Mhm, mhm.
charm the hell out of you, like suddenly.
Well, maybe there's even a tragedy to that where you can see the fullness of this person. You're like, oh man, they're in a shitty place where they're not blooming, but I can see their bloom possibility. Where some fucking focused Tom Cruise character, you couldn't even see them be more than just that fucking character and that or
Right.
that state of that character.
Yeah.
And maybe that's is that you know that like whatever Saul Goodman could be these things because
Yeah.
I don't know. But if that actor can bring that multi-layeredness, whatever,
Yeah.
to it. Hmm.
I love that. That's like a really I feel like that like that sort of instability and like living between two worlds thing is something that like I really value in like any creative work. I feel like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, like, I don't know. Acting for sure has very clear shades of comedy, whatever. I don't know. They're very obvious. Music is a little more vague. No, I mean, there's angry songs, there's sad songs, there's love songs, but it feels everything is a little more blurred.
It's blurred, but it's also and it's very open to interpretation. But I do think with I think in terms of a lot of kind of spectrums that are a gradient, and it's very multidimensional, like a um, kind of in all directions at once, and you can focus on different spectrums and figure out where you are on them at a time. And like some of them are things that people don't necessarily talk about that much, even that make music. And I think about density, is one
Yeah,
where it's like, and along with that becomes how much tension there is versus how much release.
it's
That's one people
yeah,
obviously talk about with music all the
yeah,
time, is tension and release. But there's a lot of people
like
typically
that.
talk about it in a compositional sense, but it also factors into like density and tone and how chaotic timbres are, how noisy, how harsh, like all those things. And it's so I do think
Yeah,
like I don't know, it is
but like
blurred, but
even before then, it's like you have genres, and then within genres, you even have like you could have sad salsa songs, like happy whatever, like within that genre, and then
yeah,
within that, you're saying you even can break that down into like tempos, speeds, density, like all that shit, like the math of it.
mm-hmm.
After even the emotional or like the thematic shit, like
And
I guess it's just not as easy like comedic actor, serious actor. It's like it's way more complicated in a lot of ways. And maybe they both are. Maybe we're simplifying the acting in some capacity. Maybe they're equally complex, but yeah.
well, I mean, it definitely is. It's equally, if not more complex, because hey, you can layer in different music behind your performance, so you
Oh
get all of
shit.
the complexity of music also
Sure.
interacting with what you're doing.
Well,
And
that's my fucking favorite. That's why I think live theater ultimately is the best because you can have all of those things and I can give you a fucking cracker to eat and then you can taste a cracker and see the music and feel my hand like fuck like the potential of live performances all of them,
yeah,
which VR is getting there, in some capacity could be it's going to be like a mimic version of it. It's not actually going to be feeling the thing, but you can still feel things, which is cool. Right, someone's going to release some first music album in VR that you can hear it and then like touch something with those haptic suits or whatever. I'm sure the first touch album.
It's gonna get strange for sure. I'm glad people are doing this. It's funny because I feel like with the technology side of the evolution of things, the thing that I see is that the technology is developing way faster than the artistry concepts.
Yeah.
And I think so many companies pulling millions and millions of dollars in investor money are going to collapse because there's no, I hate to use the word, but like content of value. There's no like
there's no one that, I mean, even down to like VR games right now, they're like kind of shit because they're like, we don't know what to do with it. Yeah, it's like too much. It's like you give me a bunch of new paints and like I'm not gonna be able to like use them quite effectively or whatever. I love so much just thinking about this. I love when you see a movie and they have future art in it. It's so funny. And what a trip for artists now to think what art might look like. I don't know, like when you see Star Wars scenes or like, I mean, Fifth Element's a great example of like the hyper sonic opera or whatever.
Oh
but
yeah,
like,
and like so much
just when
music
you see
sounds
people
like
doing
that.
shit in sci-fi movies, it's so funny. Like
they were kind of. I always think about that one because like I will hear music with like a vocal chop or like certain techniques, and certainly with like AI voices happening now and stuff. And I always think about that scene in The Fifth Element. I was like, they actually predicted something. They actually did this.
Yeah, she's like a little I saw a girl do that at karaoke, and she's an opera singer, and she fucking crushed that song in karaoke. Can you imagine?
That's like an ultimate flex, actually.
It was.
I'm gonna sing something.
But it was like a graceful flex. It wasn't. Yeah, it was very elegant flex. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I dare you to try it. It exists out there.
It's funny. There's an aspect to like the night shift thing that is like, I feel like it's like it's building its own like kind of alternate world technology story behind the scenes right now, because like so much of technology is reactive to what like the other companies in the thing are doing, and their goal is to like their goal is to sell the company, their goal is to do all these things. None of those things have anything to do with the goals of Night Shift. And but Night Shift is like, I'm building it with like a lot of technology involved, but it's all coming from this place of being like, it is so subservient to the concept and so subservient to the idea that like, what's the experience of this whole thing? What's the way to basically make it be the richest experience within its own context? And the thing I really love is like, because I'm taking some in the design, taking a really broad view of even what like a game is, right? So you can learn about like, sure, things to do with video games can factor in, but Dungeons and Dragons is a game too. It equally is a game, and with a completely different non-mechanic focused result. And so trying to bring all these things together into this soup is a really like rich creative problem that I'm really enjoying. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, even just thinking about Dungeons and Dragons, it's funny because like that game has evolved. There's new issues and shit and new rules, whatever. But like in general, has not changed at all because it is content generated by the user, kind of in a sense. It's like a play space or like a sandbox that they accidentally created that is like kind of free. It's like anyone can do it on their own in a sense. And like, and going back to what you're talking about, instead of you're not looking for a goal. You're not like, we need this many users. You're like, how do we create a thing that's amazing? Because you know, if you create a thing that's amazing, the thing, it will build on itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. And I think that is the danger, is like, we're constantly, at least in this country, whatever, on this fucking planet, constantly inventing like the next thing to try to do. And that's why we have this shitty content that is unsupported, because, you know, people are just running to make the thing or whatever.
Yeah, and chasing data.
With a goal, an unknown goal, like an attempt at a goal, like instead of the moment being present. I don't know.
It's really an interesting things happen. I feel like this is the, you know, with the improv stuff is very, very connected. Is like interesting things happen when your goal is something that you can't really measure, and it's not based around money, and it's not based around, it's based around this like, like really, if there's a goal, it's like, did I experience that surprising depth of humanity and like a moment, kind of.
Yeah. And that's totally what we're doing with my theater. Is like we're just trying to create like a good space, and then the result is our classes are full. But we didn't set out like we need full classes. How do we get our classes full?
Right.
We knew that if we just made good shows and good energy and lots of love and stuff, that like that stuff would happen. You can't always do that, but like when you're blessed in a position that you can operate from that space, I know, sometimes finances are really important, but if you have that ability to grow the space, the community, whatever you want in the slow, good, right way, I don't know. You'll be stronger.
It's I don't know. That's the life that I like want to live too. It's that feeling, embedding in that feeling of, I don't know. I really can't overstate it. Like I wish we lived in the same place, because I would go to your classes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something happening there that like I really, really would like to like kind of let permeate through my system.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, whatever, there's got to be a community out there that like might be growing in some way, and bring your energy there and contribute it. But like, hard. It's nice to play with friends. For sure.
And that word play too is, I'm trying to like really think about that word a lot lately, because it's like it seems like it's a theme that keeps coming up in my life, where different things will highlight that just even from like scientific standpoints, if you are approaching anything from with a playful mentality, certain things even within your brain, like you can form new connections easier. You can break habits easier if you're coming in treating it as play. And I think like embedding that sense of play and playfulness in everything in life, and especially like decision making, and is like it's kind of if it might be like the closest thing to sort of like a like panacea as like there is. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that word, but sort of like the cure-all kind of for things, because it's you just kind of can't go. I don't know. It removes so many barriers the moment you're approaching something as play, I think.
Yeah, no, you just like, you got me, man, because I've been going through some emotional stuff, and you just said that, and it was like, what if I just treat it like a fucking game, and I try to like solve this puzzle, beat this game, whatever, with love. I don't know. Yeah, I think there is ways that you can like, play things. I mean, like in a weird way, stakes are very high. Like people die, things break, people get fired, but like it is all, I don't know. The world seems very high stakes and very low stakes at the same time. There's a lot of nothing really matters. Like my parents' dog just died the other day, just fell over and died. It's like horrible, tragic, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like stuff happens, and there's no, I don't know my point there. Maybe you kind of feel me. It's like, just go and play, because that dog's going to die. And like, I don't know, if you're not playing, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, it's really like life, and certainly like I think about this a lot too, of like the everything that we think of as reality around us is a structure that has been built typically by, some of it's by nature, but most of it is
by the white man.
Yeah, like by just humanity in general all around us. And it's kind of like it's sort of arbitrary, and there's something behind most of the structures that we're within, and usually it is designed to kind of have kept somebody or some lineage of people in power for a long time. That's usually what most of the structures exist for, and motivate us to do quote unquote productive work for someone else's benefit.
To keep moving the whole thing forward as a group or whatever. But not considering that there's different ways or individuals within that machine that maybe don't fit that structure. And
and I think that's a source of a lot of not only like angst and anxiety for people, but also feeling like they need to measure their creative being. I don't even want to say work, because I don't even like to call it work. Their creative play against some like, is it good enough? Is it not good enough? Like, what if someone doesn't like it? It's like, well, fuck that person. They don't need to like it. Like, if it's not about that kind of. And I think that's sort of the it's a real like thing I'm trying to like bake into my existence. It's just like, it doesn't matter how difficult something was to do. It doesn't matter if it was impressive or not. It just kind of matters if you like, it's like, did it feel like play while you were doing it? Then it's kind of good. Like, it's kind of, from a creative standpoint, I think there's a lot to be said for that. Because then at that point too, it's like, I really don't like things being measured with everything around me is people trying to use data to somehow put you in a box or limit what you can do next, and it's like, I don't like the data. The data is yes, I understand what the data does, but the data is cold and not what it's about. I'm not in it to try to create good data, like,
yeah. I mean, is that just something where you are at because of where you are in your personal career? Like,
I mean, I think it's something that
you've got, because I can imagine a world where like the big wig managers of me start to like, yeah, like you can't post that photo because I like, it's not going to happen, but I can see a world where yeah, you start to get like limited by, yeah, the height of your career.
Well, I mean, an easy one is obviously social media to talk about. People post different things than they want to because of the numbers it might get. Yeah, that's an easy one. And then within music, artists get funding based on the numbers that they have, or opportunities or shows or anything. So there's like a success to the successful thing that goes on there. And then even talking to like people within television and things, just like talking about like getting television shows made and things like that. And it's like, oh well, the easiest best route, if you're not already just an insider who just sort of has like a green light because you're just one of the chosen few, is to have the data you can point at that this exact story is successful in another medium first. No one wants to be first. No one wants to like look at what it actually is.
Yeah.
They just want to know.
I have this super successful comic book. Oh, great.
We'll adapt exactly. And it's kind of like, I don't know. It's I think that it's very muting to people, and I think like it's something that I wish that I could say that you can just turn to the internet to subvert those systems, but you can't, because you can't fully, because social media is also data based. So the solution, the answer I've come up with is to not care.
Yes, I mean that's the only one it can be. That it just sounds like, man, I just want the renaissance of local art. Like fuck everything that has to go through the filter outside of my fucking region, even like, because that you're going to get the real art, and that's like, again, fucking blessed to have the improv theater, because it's like we're making organic growers market comedy for you, like from the soil, from here, based on you right now, like home cooked meal. And I like that. And same thing, indie bands in town, like bands that are pushing shit where it's like, this band could never fucking make it, whatever, you know what I mean, because of their sound or the way they do their thing. And like, but that's the good shit. It does suck when you start to have to, when you have a thing and you want to start to like get it out to more people, you do have to start to filter it and make it palatable. And then you've definitely lost it. I'm sure there's tons of musicians that got their whole artistic lives like gutted when they like made it. And then, I mean, right, there's billions of autobiographies about musicians that got fucked by the industry. Saps your creativity and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, the classics.
I mean, I think I heard you allude to some of that stuff, like early on, like being like just confused and like, what the fuck is this, you know?
Yeah, my relationship with my own creativity completely changed when I kind of entered the like quote unquote industry, and it's it's probably 8 years after entering like the sort of corporate version of it, and I'm just now, I mean, I've been dedicated to fighting to get it back for a couple of years, but I'm still shedding the
trauma,
ankle weights and things draped all over me that are like slowing me down. You just have to kind of, I don't know, it's a process to get back, and I think I got to know you during that time period.
Yeah.
And certainly the immediacy of the improv thing has always stood out to me as being like, ugh, that has something that I missed. I feel like it used to be for me, and I'm sort of back there now in different ways, but when I would sit down to make music, if that was my improv, it would be like, I don't know what's going to happen. It would sound like it would be really weird, not making sense for the first 3 days I worked on something.
Yeah.
And then I started to like make it make sense.
So yeah. That's perfect. That's it. That's making art, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Are you cool if I open up the
oh yeah,
and call in and
let's do it.
Say hey, and let's see.
Let's bring him in. The cat just
sometimes people do, sometimes people don't. But yeah, anyone in the chat that would like to talk to Alex, ask him any questions.
Grab coffee.
I'm opening this up. I'm just gonna catch up on the chat here. Let's see. Oh yeah. Caitlin talking about the comedy thing is hard, but I feel like again,
I mean, if you got a fan line, a call-in line, you got to use it.
Oh yeah.
We had one for the podcast for a little bit. It was amazing, as you know.
Yeah. It's so fun. Okay, I'm just like...
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Pitching books and then having to tell them what it's like. Stories that it's like Caitlin said. Sounds so horrible to synthesize your work into like, it's like Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but then the thing is, it's like, yeah, and look at something like Lord of the Rings or any standout success that somebody then chases for years and years and years, and it's always the outlier that got.
I mean, isn't that crazy? Yeah, that there wasn't, and then they made a thing, and now it is the fucking biggest thing that makes all the money, and they need you to make things that are like the thing that made a lot of money instead of fucking rolling the dice on the thing that could be the thing.
Yeah, that's the one characteristic that like decision makers are blind to is originality. Like they just and I guess I will say the one thing I guess I quote unquote understand is because then it bumps up the chain, because if the thing is good and it's original, the marketing people actually have to do a job. They can't just target things to a bunch of sounds like
like,
sounds like. They actually have to
figure out how to sell it. God forbid. That sounds like fun for them. It sounds like they probably haven't been doing the fun part of their job.
I think, but when they fail, they get fired.
Yes.
And so they don't want to have to even go down.
Totally. Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just as soon as money gets involved with art, but like they are weirdly inevitable, especially if you want to be an artist that gets paid. You need to get money involved, and then you need to figure out how to get the money.
Yeah.
To keep you alive to do the thing. Fucking money.
The one thing though, I think that people, I wish that there was more of in the world, and I certainly am adopting more of this again. And I've always kind of been like this, is that there's first of all, it's like, making your stuff, if you should find the joy in it anyway. Like you should be doing, if you're doing it for money, it's not going to work. That's not a thing. But in terms of if you are trying to have it be a part of your career too, I'm making zero, and there's I'm making infinite, and it's a complete spectrum in between, and people realizing the creative part of your life might make you $100. Is it going to change everything forever? No, but you did as long as you're doing the thing you wanted to do, then that's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 100 is good, and 0 is good, and 200 is good, and
anything
is good, and it's a spectrum, and it doesn't have to replace completely everything else in life. Most things don't. A lot of people have 2 jobs. They even have it. They might have a job they hate, and they still go get another job, and one of those jobs might be music, or music might be your 3rd job, or art might be your 4th job, but it doesn't have to be a job. It's kind of, it's an interesting way to, there's not it takes some of the success fail Boolean aspect out, where it's either true or false.
Yeah. Ugh, yeah. So weird. I mean, even I don't know. I still even at times don't know what my people are like. What's your profession? It's well, I'm an actor, but it's weird to even say that for me for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I don't feel like I don't know. That's not my job. because it's my life, but like it is my job. It's what pays my bills and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Blah 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 blah.
Well, I think I always think that you're a really good example of this too, where it's like you have a multifaceted creative life. You know, you're selling prints of the paintings. You're also doing the improv thing, which is obviously in the same category generally as the acting thing, but a pretty different version of it in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah.
And then like the more, dramatic, like scripted work as well. And the fact that you're kind of like embedded in your creativity and make yourself available is kind of like a key aspect,
Yeah. Just trying to live, man. Just trying to survive this fucking world. Trying to make it a better place every day, I guess, as much as I can. Again, while processing my own fucking traumas and whatever's, Yeah. I don't know. What's the meaning of life? What are you up to? What's your goal?
I mean, ultimately, like I am trying. I have the thing where I always fall back to this thing of like go where the energy is, and it works on a lot of different levels. It can work on like what should I focus on, like I guess like professionally or artistically, but also internally. Oh, we got a call coming in. I'm going to answer this so we don't lose it.
Oh yeah. I mean, you were just about to answer the greatest question ever.
Great way to dodge, like having to answer.
Nice work.
What?
Oh wait, my mom's calling.
Hey, hello. You are on.
Hey.
Who do we have here?
Oh, this is Alex Cook.
Hey, Alex. How's it going, man?
Hey.
I got the two
I was
Alexes.
wondering yeah, another Alex. There's always a lot of Alexes out there. I was just wondering, like, if you had a choice, like, between the dramatic roles and the comedic roles, what would you choose? And then if you only had one thing to do, if it was art in terms of painting or acting, which one would you do? Like, you have a preference.
Yeah.
Like I mean, forget about, like what they're paying you or like, what you're up for. Like,
well, I mean, that's the thing is like, even my manager asked me a little bit ago, he's like, what do you want us to put you out for? Like, what roles do you want? And the answer I gave him was not helpful and kind of shitty. I was kind of like, whatever you sent me on, because like I got on that show Narcos and got to work in Mexico and stuff for like months. And I never would have been like, hey, set me up for that kind of show. And it was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So in a sense, like I don't even want to think about what I want. I want to be present and receive those things kind of because, and finding the joy in any of those. And if I had to choose one art form, like, yeah, I just won't. I won't. Like in a weird way, I don't even want to entertain that question in a sense of like, that's crazy. I mean, like it would be improv comedy if I had to, like, because it is the most connective with an audience and it's present and all that stuff. But like crazy days and tragic to even think about only doing one kind of art, I think, in a sense, to limit ourselves.
Yeah, I was just curious what you would pick. And then like, do you see the comedy in the drama and the drama in the comedy? Like for different roles, like you want them to be kind of like layered and multidimensional kind of.
I mean, I think just humanity for me, and like that's what I teach in the classes, is not necessarily like find this or that, find the three dimensions in all of it. Find the drama in the comedy and the comedy in the drama. Try to put the truth of us all, because we're all so complicated. And if we can layer that stuff in, I think that's that's what I got.
Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to ask, really.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Alex. Is there so just for people who don't know, Alex, who is on the phone right now, not Alex, who is in the video right now, is a writer. He's been working on a novel as well called Destination Jane, and I think he'll be sharing some of that with us soon in the Discord and stuff too. So, yeah,
although mine are usually
for people to get introduced to his work as well.
I like his pitch it how you want to.
Yeah,
because again,
you
that's
get that question
like,
a lot.
I mean, I do film auditions, and there's famous stories of like Harrison Ford went in the audition and he like put his feet on the desk and he was an asshole to the casting person because that was the character and he got the role. Like there's these things that sometimes I'll get an audition
or maybe he was just a carpenter.
Maybe
to
it's
the
just a
director.
cover. Yeah. But like you just saying, pitch it how you want to. There's times when I'll get an audition and sometimes I'm inspired to do something fucking weird that you're not supposed to do in an audition. I'll change the camera. I'll do something totally wrong. I'll have a prop. You're not supposed to have props, whatever. There's times when I will be inspired to do something different and pitch it how I want to. And then other times when I'm not inspired by the audition and I just do it how they want me to. But there's times when, just like you said, pitch it how you want. If like, yeah, if you have something that you're pitching and you believe in this way of doing it, I think you got to trust your guts. And that will be the thing that is the Lord of the Rings. Cause it's like, it was so inspired that it'll become the tree, I think a lot of times. So I agree with pitch it how you want.
Yeah. I like that as a sticky phrase kind of too. I think that's really good. And I think, I've experienced my own version of that with like record labels and A&R stuff where it's, you don't want to go with the person where you had to bend the presentation to them.
Yeah.
Typically, like, especially if it's something that you really care about, like, you know, and you're going to put a lot of work into. It's like it's better to be nowhere with nobody than it is to be with someone that doesn't actually, isn't down for the real creative ride that you're on.
Yeah, I'd rather have a like, what the fuck was that guy, than a like, yeah. Like, yeah, he was good enough, or like it worked. I'd much rather have not that fucking guy. Like an extreme choice, yes or no, than a like neutral. And same thing, if you're pitching your book how you want to, you're gonna pitch it with some gusto and it might not work, but at least you fucking did it. Whereas, yeah, if you're trying, I hate that too. And like we have to, but like begging for that kind of, I don't know, can I have this? We published my book, like here, I'll pitch it. Like, do you want it? It sucks to have to ask for your work to be loved, but it has to be. You know, we do have to do this stuff. What a nice world where we don't have to audition our work. You know what I mean? I don't know what it looks like, but
nice thing though too, I do think in the world that we live in, the one good thing is that there is always another direction to turn with any. You know, it's like I think about that with the music stuff that I do a lot now, where one of the big things a big barrier I needed to remove was being like, well, I don't want to have the pressure on every single piece I make to be this measurable pop success, like nugget where it doesn't matter what's inside of it. And so I want to be able to make things that are intended to be loved by only 3 people, maybe deeply, and maybe no one else in the world cares about it, and that I can feel just as good about that. And
I mean, what's the measurable success on that? Like 100 million people liked your thing a little bit, or 2 people liked your thing like a shit ton. Like like where's the measurable? I mean, money could come with the big one, but like besides that, like artistically, am I more fulfilled? And this is maybe going back to Alex's question, is like, I would honestly rather connect with 50 people in my improv audience than like, you know, maybe make like a movie that is big but like is removed. I don't know. Like there is the immediacy and the connection and the curation of art towards the individual that is really quite beautiful and special.
I really, I mean, this, you know, this podcast or stream kind of exemplifies it too, of like the importance to me of being like, you know, ultimately I like to connect with the people who resonate with what I do. I don't really care how many people it is. I care about the quality of that connection and the truth of it, and it just feels way better to me. And so I mean, on that note, thank you everyone that is here for this kind of thing, because this is the good stuff to me, you know.
It's a nice little community.
Alex, is there anything else you wanted to ask?
Oh no, there's 91 people watching. That's not a little community. That's a big community.
No, there you go. Yeah.
Uh-oh. I thought there was only like 6 people because I was just looking at the chat.
Well, Alex Cook on the call. You'll have to come on in the future, and we can talk all about your writing. Okay?
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know about it. Alex, were you saying that usually your books are like 1984 Brave New World? Those are the tone of your work, that if you had to pitch it?
Oh, he dropped off. Okay. I guess it held the call open, but got it. So I'm going to do...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I meant even in the chat, though. You can just answer in the chat, but or call back.
Sorry, I'm still getting used to Rodeo. I thought he was still connected.
No. That's yeah.
Well, I think we can kind of start wrapping it up, I guess. If this seems like if anyone else calls in the last little bit, but man, Alex, I would love to have you on again in the future, and like we can like talk more about maybe now that everyone's kind of been like introduced together too. It'd be cool to like as we're like doing stuff, we can update, bring it back on. It's a really good conversation too. I know you well enough to know that it was going to be, but
yeah, we have good chats. It's nice.
Yeah, it's always a very like inspiring thing, and there's something about like your creative world that I always I'm like a little bit jealous of. I just feel like it flows.
I mean, we should be inspiring each other. You inspire me too. That's great. Good, healthy.
So, and again, I'm gonna drop it one more time in the chat. Everyone should follow Alex on Instagram. Is there anything else that you want me to send people to, Alex?
I mean, like, no, like, yeah, I mean, you could send them my MDB so they can see what I've been in, but like, what does that do for anyone? Like, no, I mean, like again,
I'm about to do it.
Like, I mean, sure, go for it, whatever. But like, I don't know. It's just like, this is going back to me as an actor. It's like, there is so much, there's a lot of pressure, other actor friends of mine, social media and stuff, of like pushing your career and being like, sorry.
I just didn't want to lose it.
Let's
I'm not trying to interrupt you.
No.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, who do we have here?
This is Gabe.
Hey, Gabe, how's it going? This is Gabe, the band name. He was our first guest.
Yeah.
He's a musician as well. So.
Can you hear me all right? I'm in the car right now.
Yeah, I can hear you just
fine.
We
got you.
All right, awesome. I just want to ask you, Abso, because you talked a little bit earlier about like how over the last couple of years you kind of like when you really got into like signing with a major label and stuff, you felt like your music, you started kind of become a lot more corporate, or started having to like look at your art in like more of a corporate perspective or something like that. Now that you were working on like night shift type stuff, is it like all back to how it was when you first started, or is there kind of a transition, especially for things like some of the things you've been teasing, like the video games?
Yeah. So it is. Nothing ever goes back to the way it was. Like everything's always moving forward into the future, and I don't even believe in like trying to get back to exactly where I was, because I wouldn't want that either. There were good things, but there were bad things back then too. So for me now, like I'm kind of prioritizing the core impulse that everything comes from, and how honest it feels, and how much license I give myself to really listen to my instinct about what I want to be doing. And the thing that's really cool right now that is better than ever is that I'm really allowing myself to kind of take the limiter off. Like for just to use like an actual like audio kind of metaphor, it's like I'm taking the limiter off and I'm letting my ideas kind of blow past what I used to think was the ceiling. And what I'm finding is that me tapping into that creative impulse means expanding my creative vision far outside of music alone, because music alone is a box. Any particular creative road you go down is a box. There's things in, and this is kind of me trying to go, I'm kind of, as a fan of stuff in the world that people make, I like it all. I like music, but I also like books, and I also like movies, and I also like video games, and I also, it's, you name it. I like visual art, I like photography. And so the big evolution for me is I didn't give myself that license before to really engage with everything as one unified thing. And to me, that's a lot of what Night Shift is. And within that is, again, to reiterate, like, I'm a fan of stuff people make, and I'm a fan of people who make stuff. And even bringing that in as my fan, like the expression of my fandom of people like, I don't know, like Alex in this, as the guest today, is part of my creativity too, in a way. My interest in what he has to say is kind of like, relates to me like the interest of being like, well, what happens when I put my fingers on the piano today? Like what comes back at me? And it was like, I wanted to know what kind of came out of this conversation with Alex. And to me, that's a creative act as well. We created this conversation, and like that's something that this is where I think my experience of being on a major label and kind of experiencing what the boxes are inside of like more of a corporate structure creatively, it resulted in me hitting the bottom of the barrel, hitting my lowest points. And it was only from there, though, from that perspective, that I could see the things I really, really wanted and the freedom that I really desired. So it gave me good things as well. And to get back to your question, the actual question of, is it back? Not fully, and it won't ever be exactly the same, but I just found myself saying it last night where I was like, when I sit down to make music now, more than ever, it is from the perspective of, I'm not going to do this unless it's coming out of me, like, and it wants to come out of me, because I want to listen to my interest. And right now my interest might be like reading a book about something I'm interested in, or, you know, coming up with a video game idea, or of writing a script for a film thing. Like, and I just am trying to, that's more pure to me right now. And my relationship with music is complicated because of everything I've been through. But it's coming back. And the best gift I can give it is being like, I'm not going to force this. I'm going to let it, I'm going to let it flow and keep it pure, basically. So yeah, sorry, long answer to your question.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's a very good answer.
Yeah, I think like,
all right, well.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, you know, to boil it down though, it's just really try to just listen to your instinct about what you want to be, what your interest. It really is that. Are you interested in sitting down, you know, and making it the way you want to make it? Then do that. You know, and I think it's valid for someone to be like, someone might be interested in seeing if they can make the music that supplies that corporate structure. I'm personally not. But someone might be genuinely interested in that, and that's okay too.
Or if they're playing that game.
Yeah.
The game is to get the popular song. Like,
right.
It's a game. Do what you can. Yeah, I mean, I feel that just personally. I feel like I lose my artistic thing all the time, and then, like I said, it comes back. But I can't force it. You know, I have to create space for art to come to me. But yeah, I don't know. And not in the same way that you lost it, but like these micro loses of inspiration happen daily or weekly or monthly. You know, where you're like just uninspired. And like you said, it's like just read that book that you want and trust that is you walking towards whatever that unnamed goal is, that it doesn't always have to be sitting at the piano every fucking day. I mean, you do want to, again, create that space, but yeah.
I like the broad view. Broad view is nice.
All right. That was my one question, so thank you.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Gabe. Talk to you soon, man.
I'm gonna go hop back to the stream.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, well, I am gonna wrap this one up, I think. And
cool. Fun.
Thank you so much, Alex, for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Really great.
So nice.
So nice to introduce you to everyone and everyone to you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I hope you'll come on in the future again. We can talk more. Let's let's also make some stuff. Let's make some more stuff.
Let's make some stuff, and then we can talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Hit me up. We'll do something.
All right.
Cool. All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here. All right.
Yeah. Bye.